Grand Rising. I've got no clue what to talk about, but I thought I would just press play and I'll press record. And I'm Max. I'm sober for a couple of years now. I've been an addict to alcohol for 19 years and an addict to cocaine for probably 5 years. And yeah, I'm of service now. That's my life now. I specialize in mental and spiritual health, and ADHD, and the foundational stuff that's very high level to a lot of people. For me, it's foundational stuff. So building the body back up from the ground, so it's a strong foundation for you to build upon with whatever you're struggling with. Because mental and spiritual health and addictions and substance dependencies and the spiritual void that all of you have, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching my videos, it's all connected, okay? And through my experience and through my knowledge and through my studies and through learning with my mentors and teachers and the doctors that I work with that taught me a lot of the stuff that I am now able to pass on. Through that work and through that knowledge, I've learned that it's all connected. I've seen it with myself in the first place, because I tried all these regular approaches, right, that you've also tried, and I've tried these regular programs out there, and I've tried just to work on the mental a little bit and do some hypnotherapy and do some subconscious work and do some habit stacking and do some reprogramming, and I did all of that, and it was never enough. It was never enough for me to be truly free from these addictive personality traits, right? Because that's ultimately what we kind of have to work on, right? Like it's the spiritual void, because all of the rest is attached to it. And so once you understand that and understand that, then the work starts here, right? Because what good is it to start pouring from the top? A lot of you are building businesses, and if you have a foundational problem in the business, a lot of times that's you as the CEO or the owner. Then all the fuck you want. You can try different lead gen. You can try different channel in terms of ads. You can try different product. Doesn't fucking matter. We'll always fail because you are the weakest link. It's like one of the good things I was taught in school is you're only as good as the weakest link in the team, right? And the team member, right? So that's what it comes down to. You have to start from scratch. You have to fix the basics, and then you will see everything starts to unfold. And then you can start to go inward, and then you can start to reconnect with yourself and with God, okay? And that's when true freedom really comes in, because then you can sit still with yourself and you can let come up whatever comes up on that day, and you don't let it bother you that much, or some fucking cunt on the street that you kind of attracted in this moment swears at you, and you just laugh at him and you just keep going, right? Because it just doesn't faze you anymore. Whereas a couple years ago you would have gone up to him like, hey, what do you want? You would have wasted all your energy and would have ended in a bad situation, in a scruffle or whatever, right? But you will see you won't be attracting these situations into your life anymore You won't be attracting these parasites into your life anymore, and with that I mean these people that drain you. And you won't be attracting all these low frequency interactions anymore, because you just won't be at that level anymore, right? And so that's the underlying theme that we're working on. It's true freedom, it's true connection, and you just have to let me guide you, right? With a lot of clients in the beginning, it's a little bit difficult because they have a relationship, let's say, with cocaine, right? They don't have a relationship with their spouse or with themselves. They have a relationship with cocaine, and cocaine rules their world. The substance is a dark entity in a sense, right? I try not to talk too much, in with these wordings and with that speech, of the energetics of it and of that world that's not tangible to you, because you will think, okay, this guy is it's all woo woo and he's a little bit like that, right? But like you will see, after like 2, 3, 4 months of working with me, it will all start to make sense for you and to you, because there are intangible things going on around you, right, at all times, and they affect you. And it's not just stuff that went on in your childhood that affects you, right? There are also things that are intergenerational. Let's leave it at that, okay? And that's all stuff that we look at. That's one thing that I do differently than everyone, let's say, because nobody does that. Because for that work to be done, you would usually have to go to different countries and sit with a shaman and stuff. But this is all happening with your okay, right? Nothing is being done if you don't want it to be done. Same thing with my astrologer. If you don't want her to look into your stuff, that's fine. You don't have to do that. It's just going to be to your benefit, and it's just going to make my work also easier in guiding you, especially with the women. There's a lot of times there's a purpose problem, and the women that come to me, they are usually a little bit, let's say, like on the older side of things in terms of becoming a mother, and oftentimes that can be a problem, right? And oftentimes they've focused on just work and the career, right? And then all of a sudden, you kind of wake up, and even though you're fucking numbed out all the time, but you kind of wake up and you're like, shit, what the fuck did I do? That maybe in the early mid 30s, late 30s, and all of a sudden, that whole thought of having a purpose with a family comes into play, right? And it's all doable, like if you're watching, don't stress about it, be hopeful, but you have to get going, right? Like you have to get to work. You have to get these toxins out of the way, you have to rebuild the body, and then it's doable, right? Fuck that doctor that told you cannot have kids, There are certain, modalities, and there's certain, diagnoses where you really can't have kids, but a lot of times it's bullshit. Because they just have no clue about hormones and how stuff works, right? How to balance the body so they can actually, be the vessel for a child. And that's the sad thing about this Western medicine system that I also grew up in, and I've had it around me all my life. But I also had Eastern medicine around me all my life, through my family and stuff. But I know both sides of the coin. And I know that sometimes Western medicine is a good approach, and oftentimes and more often it's the soft approaches with Eastern and Asian medicines and the likes of that area, the better approach, because they're softer on the systems that we have. But as I'm saying, don't always listen to this one doctor, especially not if he's taught in Western medicine. Go get another diagnosis. Go see 2 or 3 different professionals that can give you a good idea of where you're really at. you know, because a lot of that stuff is just blockages in the body. And like, for example, right, if you've gotten a lot of vaccinations as a kid, you have way too much mercury in the system. Okay, mercury blocks every single peptide and every single protein in the body, and we have a couple hundred of those. I know you don't know that, but now you know, right? Just imagine over the course of those 30 or 35, 40, 45 years what that did to your system. Don't you think all that shit that pops up these days, all these new diseases and mental disorders, whatever they call them, right? Don't you think that's all connected in some way? Don't you think if you block the body and block the body system to replenish and to fix itself and to heal itself, don't you think that over time it creates issues that again are supposed to be solved with pills and more medical drugs? It's funny, right? So I've been taking cortisone almost all my life, so I've had asthma in my lineage over 4 generations, right? I'm the one that's going to basically stop that, and I have stopped it because my children don't have it, and I'm also gonna get rid of it with myself, but that's just gonna take some time. And it's one of these things, it's just normal. Let's just give them cortisone basically every day. I was taking cortisone. It fucks you up. It doesn't matter what you take from the pharmacy. If you take too much and too often and regularly, if it becomes chronic, it will fuck you up. It will have side effects. It doesn't matter what it is. You will always have side effects. And so you have to know what you're doing. You have to know, when to pick your poison and where to pick it. And sometimes an antibiotic is great, but then you have to work on the gut afterwards, and you have to fix the systems. A lot of depression, especially with women, happens after the antibiotics have been taken, and a lot of people don't know that, but you have to be aware of that I think the risk increases by like 30%, whatever depression means. But like that, those are the medical terms that are being used in Western medicine, right? I don't always 100% sign off on that, but I'm just saying it so you can understand what I'm saying. I also don't believe in the ADHD part that much, but I use it so people understand what I'm talking about, right? And so so stop giving yourself any labels. That's the first part, and think about where you're at and where you want to go, and then get to work, because it's the only way, right? I have to get going. I'm late, and I'll talk to you soon.